Come to action.
Equal opportunity employer.
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called the Vault. Enter today at jaguars.com/shadows. One winner a guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase to enter or win, must be 18 or older and a legal resident of Florida or Georgia. Promotion period 9/5/23 through 12/15/23. For official rules and complete details, visit jaguars.com. Sponsored by Jacksonville Jaguars, LLC.
Experience the Kanaya Water Systems difference, bringing purity and affordability right to your tap. Say goodbye to hard water woes and hello to clean, soft water for your family. Search KENAI Water Jacksonville.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. He's Hacker.
I'm a sausage guy. Yeah, that butcher shop with the juicy breasts. I like that.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
I have always liked Florida State.
And now I do realize why people don't like Florida Gator fans. So if you're going to blow it out, just blow it out. But Shad Khan, the owner, didn't see it that way.
Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Tuesday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, our late night show. Are you kidding me? Ladies and gentlemen of Jacksonville, Florida, where would you rather be right now at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on a Tuesday than hanging out with Dylan Denmark and yours truly on Hacker After Dark? And we certainly appreciate you staying up late with us tonight. We got a little bit of everything when it comes to the world of football for you. We got high school football over the next 2 hours. We got college football over the next 2 hours. And we have a little National Football League talk for you over the next 2 hours. Guest lineup looks like this. 11 o'clock hour will be all about the high school spotlight. Justin Barney of Channel 4. Sean McIntyre, the head football coach at Creekside High School. Marcus Wells, the head football coach at Episcopal, will all stop by. In hour number one, do a little college talk with my friend Brent Beard. That's coming up in about 35 minutes. And in less than 20 minutes, Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4 to talk about the Jaguars' 1-2 start. And I want to begin on the Jaguars, and I also want to begin in the world of college football. A little 2 for Tuesday, a double big deal of the night, because every night here on Hacker After Dark, we do give you a big deal of the night. And Dylan Denmark, let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal? What is the big deal?
No big deal.
It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
So tomorrow, I guess we officially turn the page, right? Tomorrow, it's officially on to Atlanta. We're going to talk about London, and the Jaguars will try to get over whatever that was on Sunday afternoon at Everbank Stadium. The Jaguars are 1-2 on the year. The Jaguars are no longer tied in first place in the AFC South. Indianapolis, 3 games in, your leader in the AFC South with a 2-1 record. And Jacksonville will try to right the ship, and they're going to try to right the ship in London, England. The next 2 ball games, this Sunday against Atlanta and a week from Sunday against Buffalo, both taking place in London, are going an awful long way to where this Jaguar season's going to go. You want to talk about the fork in the road 10-day period for the Jaguars. It's going to begin on Thursday when they travel to London. The difference in the National Football League between 2-2 and 1-3 is enormous. Enormous. Is it a must-win against Atlanta? No. But you're starting to get into that conversation, because if you lose to Atlanta and you fall to 1-3 and then you play Buffalo, one of the best teams in the AFC, if Jacksonville comes back here 1-4, that might be curtains for the season. Seriously. Maybe not for the division, but that might be curtains for any hopes you had of being a 1, 2, or 3 seed And at very best, at 1-4, the only thing you can hope for is to get back to where you were last year. The 4 seed and hopefully win the division, a bad division at that. A gigantic 10-day period begins for the Jaguars when they travel to London on Thursday. I'll be down in the Jaguar locker room tomorrow. Looking forward to catching up with the guys before they head over to London and get ready for an Atlanta team that was 2-0, feeling pretty good about themselves. They took it on the chops on Sunday in Detroit. So they're looking to get back on the winning track as well. But more on the Jaguars coming up in just a bit. Again, Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4 will join us in less than 15 minutes. To the world of college football. 4 games in for Florida State, and Miami. We're a third of the way home. Miami and Florida State, a much-deserved week off. Florida getting ready for a huge game. Big game against Kentucky on Saturday. Of course, you'll hear it right here on 1010XL. So quickly, I want to go over these 3 teams and what we've seen the first month of the college football season. Let's begin in Miami. Miami did what they had to do. They've played 3 bad opponents. They have destroyed all 3 of them. Right? Miami of Ohio had absolutely no answer for them. Bethune, Cookman, and Temple. Temple, actually, a road game in Philadelphia, I thought might be dicey, and it wasn't. Miami had no problem. And Miami won their biggest game of the year to date, knocking off Jimbo Fisher and Texas A&M. Van Dyke looks good. The new offensive coordinator looks good. Times are good for Mario Cristobal and the Canes. You look at that schedule, too. It's not daunting, although the Atlantic Coast Conference does have 6 teams that are still undefeated. 6 that are still undefeated. The likes of Syracuse and Duke, North Carolina, Florida State, Miami, and I believe, who's the other? Is it Louisville? I think Louisville's the other one. 6 teams that have still got a 0 in the loss column. Miami will see some of those teams. So it may be not as easy a schedule as we thought coming in, but clearly 4-0, second year for Mario Cristobal. Miami's cooking with gas right now, a much-deserved bye week. Florida State, what can you say about them? 4-0 with wins over LSU and Clemson. Are you kidding? Even the most diehard Florida State fan, I'm not sure if you thought a month ago that you would be 4-0 with wins over both LSU and at Clemson. Kudos to Mike Norvell and Florida State. And I had people telling me on social media, I went on and praised Florida State for a big win because, after all, as I've gotten older and wiser in this crazy world of sports talk radio, I am the objective broadcast journalist, although some of you still remember me as that 25-year-old that wore a Gator bandana to work. I guess I understand that. So anytime I praise Florida State for anything, I'm either not being truthful on social media, according to some, or Gator fans come at me with, well, they were ranked number 4, and Clemson was unranked, so it's really not a big win. Hogwash.
I have always liked Florida State.
Absolutely. The Pat Kennedy basketball camp when I was younger. Sat in the animals section at Dick Hauser Stadium. I'm not going to say I have the garnet and gold pumping through my veins, but it's always been there, Denmark, like a fungus. Just there on the surface in my life. That was a huge win for Florida State on Saturday. You got over the Clemson hurdle. The Atlantic Coast Conference is yours again. It was Clemson's for a long time. For a long time. Not anymore. Give Mike Norvell credit. Give that coaching staff credit. Jordan Travis, Keon Coleman. The defense, opportunistic. Winning a game in Clemson, South Carolina in overtime to end their 7-game winning streak against you. And for you to reclaim the title of the top dog in the ACC, Enormous win for Florida State. Who's in their way? Who's going to stop them to an undefeated regular season? Miami? Maybe. They do have to play Duke. How about College Game Day going to Durham, North Carolina? First time ever on Saturday. Wallace Wade Stadium, right? I think it's got a giant track around it. Herb Street, Reese Davis, Lee Corso, Desmond Howard in Durham on Saturday. Hey, kudos to Duke. It's a great story. And they host Notre Dame. But Florida State's got to play Duke. They got to play North Carolina. Or, I'm sorry. They got to play Miami. They got to play Duke. They got to play NC State, I believe, right? NC State's another decent team. They got to go to Pitt. I believe they have Syracuse on their schedule as well. Not a bad football team. But let's be real. Outside of Miami and maybe an outside chance of the game in Gainesville, there's not a lot standing in Florida State's way from being undefeated 12-0 going into Championship Saturday. And if they're undefeated 12-0 going into Championship Saturday, does it really matter what they do in the ACC Championship game? Would a 12-1 Florida State, assuming they have victories at that point over LSU, Miami, Clemson, Duke, and Florida, can they even lose the ACC title game and still get into the college football playoff? I would think there'd be a great argument for them. So a much-deserved bye week, Florida State, jam-up job through 4 games. That brings me to Florida. All of a sudden, this game in Lexington on Saturday between the Gators and the Wildcats, it's a big game, man. 3-1 Gators, 4-0 Kentucky. Both teams 1-0 in the SEC. Look, some people didn't think Florida was going to win 5 games all year. Vegas, I think, had their over-under at 5.5. If Florida finds a way to go into Kentucky and win on Saturday with the knowledge they're hosting Vanderbilt the week after, Florida could be 5-1 and ranked in the top 15 in America in 2 weeks.
What chance do you give them winning Saturday?
Oh, I think they have a very good chance. It's a big game. Now, Kentucky's certainly a good football team. But here's when I analyze this game, here's the one thing that I come back to. Kentucky's 4-0, and you could argue their biggest win is against Vanderbilt. They've not been challenged, right? They haven't had to play tough competition. Meanwhile, Florida has already played Utah and Tennessee. And I think that matters. I do. Lexington's not going to be any more volatile than Salt Lake City was at night. Lexington at noon compared to Salt Lake City at night, there's not going to be a harsher crowd. So I don't think the crowd's going to bother Florida. Tennessee, I think, probably has more talent than Kentucky, and Florida's already faced them. Can Florida prove that they're ahead of the curve? People thought this was going to be a year to try to keep the recruiting class of 2024 in place. And it still may very well be. Just try to stabilize everything and wait for the reinforcements in recruiting to get to Gainesville. But if Florida goes into Kentucky and wins and goes to 4-1 and 2-0 in the SEC with wins at that point over Tennessee and Kentucky, well, then Billy Napier's ahead of the curve. Billy Napier is farther along in the process than maybe even the most diehard Gator fan anticipated. It is a heck of an opportunity for the Gators on Saturday. Dare I say they're even playing with house money? I don't know how many people would have said 4-1 through 5 games a month ago. I think pretty much people expected 3-2. Can you get one of Utah, Tennessee, and Kentucky? Well, you've already got one in your back pocket when you beat Tennessee. Maybe it's a bad way to look at it, but it's the way I'm looking at it. This may be a house money game. Now, if Florida goes up there and gets destroyed, it's a different story. Kentucky's won 3 out of 5 and 2 in a row. Florida needs to go rebuild their image and their dominance over the Commonwealth and the Kentucky Wildcats. So from that standpoint, a big game. But again, if Florida wins, there's no argument. Billy Napier is ahead of schedule. And that is a far cry from what we were saying the Thursday before Labor Day and that loss to Utah. Give Napier credit. They've won 3 in a row, and they've looked good in doing it, and that defense is for real. That defense is good. Austin Armstrong is doing things. I am as interested in this Florida game as I have been in a long time. Florida and Kentucky, a great opportunity for the Gators to show that they are ahead of where most people thought they would be. 641-1010 is the phone number on the phone line and on the text line. If you want to shoot me a text here on a Tuesday night about Florida, Florida State, or Miami, you are more than welcome to do so. More in the world of college football coming up in just a bit. Brent Beard, you see him on First Coast News locally. You also get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Coming up next, back into the world of the National Football League. Jaguars 1-2. Let's put a final wrap on whatever that was against Houston, and let's begin to turn the page to London and to the Atlanta Falcons. My friend Jamal St. Cyr, you see him on Channel 4. You also get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. He's next. Hacker After Dark on a Tuesday night, 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
One play can be the difference.
He's racing down the sideline for the touchdown.
Performance Painting presents the high-performance play of the game.
That's how you finish right there.
On 1010XL. Performance Painting. Prepare, protect, preserve.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
Business owners and professionals face special challenges in divorce court. They have to contend with allegations that they are earning more than they are, coupled with claims on their business or practice itself. Clients with assets depend on their divorce lawyer's skills in these matters.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Jacksonville area attorneys. Offices in Jacksonville and by appointment only in Ponte Vedra Beach. Lisa Cargis, Florida resident partner. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois only. CordellCordell.com.
Make sure your home is protected this hurricane season by scheduling a complimentary roof inspection with Universal Roof and Contracting. And right now, get 10% off roof replacement and repairs. The first 50 callers will save an additional $500 on a full roof replacement. And this offer expires September 30th and restrictions apply. Universal Roof and Contracting, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. License number CCC 1330747, CBC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can now do it in less than a week. Hey, it's Prosser here, and that's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, or even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. And you don't even have to touch your primary mortgage, so you can keep that 3% rate intact. Just get the money you need and pay off all those credit cards, or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com or 904-999-1508. That's 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Get fishing tips and stories from Captain Kevin
Bite's gonna pick up pretty soon
on the Ring Power Fishing Forecast Show. Brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Whoa!
Thursday nights at 6
on 1010XL AM.
Hey, Hicken here. Have you ever had your carpets professionally cleaned only to have them looking dingy again? Well, use the pros at Zero Res. They use patented ZR water that cleans beautifully, and that means there is zero residue left behind. Right now, Zero Res is falling back in time for September. I call it the Game Day Special. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for $129, and they clean a 4th room free. That's right, 4th room on me. Zero Res, spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
Looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this football season? Well, test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sport. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projection for a wide variety of statistics, and place your entry. It's as easy as that. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Easy gameplay, quick withdrawals, and an enormous selection of players and stat options are what make Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Ready to test your skills? Join the Prize Picks community of more than 7 million football fans who have already signed up. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/1010XL and use code 1010XL. That's code 1010XL at prizepicks.com/1010XL for a first deposit match of up to $100. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy.
Hey sports fans, it's Hayes Carline for QC Kinetics. The future of joint pain relief is here. It's QC Kinetics, advanced regenerative medicine. This is amazing stuff. If you've been told more steroids or surgery are your only options, don't be so fast. Get a second opinion and learn more about how you can harness your body's own healing agents to attack that joint pain. You've got to go see QC Kinetics. You can call to set up a free consultation at Mandarin or Ponte Vedra locations at 904-274-5522. Again, 274-5522. Imagine living your life this fall with no more pain in your knees, your hips, shoulders, back, with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery. Look, life is about motion, and QC Kinetics is giving people their lives back with these all-natural treatments. Again, give them a call. 904-274-5522. That's QC Kinetics.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguars now 1-2 on the year after a 37-17 loss to the Houston Texans on Sunday as they prepare to go to London now to take on both Atlanta and Buffalo over the next 2 weeks. With that, Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4, always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Jamal, how we doing?
Hey, I'm doing better than the Jaguars right now, I'd say. I appreciate you having me on.
Hey, Jamal, always appreciate the time. All right, man, Sunday afternoon, the Jaguars coming off the Kansas City loss. They're playing what was thought to be an inferior Houston Texan team, and it was a Houston Texan team that proved the Jaguars were the inferior team on Sunday. What on earth happened, in your opinion?
Look, I don't have the answers, just like I don't think the Jaguars have the answers. I mean, Look, C.J. Stroud's good, which is going to be a problem for the Jaguars for years to come. But overall, the Texans just dominated the Jags, just absolutely dominated them. I don't know if the Jaguars were drinking their own Kool-Aid. They heard all of the offseason hype, the Super Bowl talk, oh, the MVP this and the Vegas that, and they started drinking the Kool-Aid and looking past teams like the Texans. But it's just it's not coming together. There's no excuse for this one. I mean, we looked at the Colts win and said, oh, they made mistakes, but they won the game. It doesn't matter. Week 2, it was against the Kansas City Chiefs. Oh, they're the defending Super Bowl champions, and they were still in the game. It was close. It's okay. There's no excuse for what happened against the Texans. I mean, this is the Texans team that hadn't won a game, probably won't win very many more games, but absolutely just whipped the Jags.
Yeah, it was a boat racing. There's no question about that. And look, Doug Peterson's never one to get too high, too low, too critical. but you said something about the offseason hype. And yesterday, Doug Peterson addressed it and was talking about press clippings. Maybe we've been reading too much of our press clippings. In fact, he said it twice, right? I think he said it on the radio, and he also said it in the post-game press conference. What did you make of Peterson's comments with that?
I don't think he knows what's going on right now. And if he does, he's not letting us in. But I'll tell you, like you mentioned it, Doug is kind of like that calm. Everything can be going wrong. Everything can be going right. He's going to say the same thing. After the week 2 game, I said it. If they had won or lost that game, he still would have looked at everybody and said, it's just week 2. That's just the kind of guy Doug Peterson is. That's the kind of coach that he wants to be. And I kind of started to take note early in the week last week when he called out the team publicly for their practice habits leading up to the Chiefs game. When he said that was kind of the problem. We were sloppy during practice. We didn't have the energy we needed going into that game. I said, that's kind of strange. That's not something that Coach Peterson would normally do. I mean, normally when you get a coach that's willing to call out his team for practice in the media, something's up. And clearly there's something up, and I think he's searching for answers. I'll tell you, I was in the locker room after the game. After the Chiefs game, they were mad. After this game, I think more guys were confused. I don't want to point any fingers or name any guys, but there was one guy that just sat in his locker with his pads on. Just sat there for at least 30 minutes, just sitting there staring. Because I think they don't know what went wrong.
Well, the crazy thing, Jamal, I mean, look, the narrative is we beat ourselves, right? And maybe that makes people feel better. The bottom line is you played a rookie quarterback with 4 backup offensive linemen, 3 guys in the secondary that weren't playing for them, a coach that had never won a game as a head coach, and you got crushed by 20 points in your own stadium. I don't know. I mean, maybe that does make you feel better to say, oh, we beat ourselves or it's on us. Well, you blew a coverage. You got a field goal block. You let a fullback return a ball for a touchdown from 85 yards out on a kickoff. I mean, it was an embarrassment what happened yesterday, quite frankly.
They didn't beat themselves this week. Against the Colts, those were self-inflicted wounds. There was the weird fumble play. Against the Chiefs, they beat themselves. There were opportunities there that they just couldn't take advantage of, didn't take advantage of. Against the Texans beat them. The whole you beat yourselves thing, that's when penalties and stupid mistakes pop up. I get there was the one dropped pass that probably would have been a touchdown. But outside of that, what other play can we really point to where it's like, you beat yourself? I mean, you let a fullback take back a kickoff and I'll give back the speeds came back. He was over 20 miles an hour, one of the fastest guys running on the field on Sunday. So clearly that fullback has some wheels, but you let that happen. That wasn't a beat yourself moment. That was the Texans came out and dominated from the beginning to the end. And the second the Jaguars thought they were in it, Houston said, we don't really want you that close.
Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4 here with us on 1010XL in Jacksonville. All right, Jamal, everybody's looking for answers. You cover this team as close as anybody. Let me throw a couple of narratives that we're hearing today and get your reaction. They're trying to force the ball to Ridley, and as a result, that's affecting the offense when it comes to Kirk, Jones, and Ingram. Do you buy into that?
I don't buy into that. I don't think when you look at it, there haven't been bad throws to Calvin Ridley. When you look at this group, he is the clear best player. There have been opportunities there. The difference is last year, Doug's offense had guys running with plenty of space. They were creating this cushion. This year, it doesn't seem like they're creating that same impact, that same spacing where it makes some of the throws easy. So when it's tight, you go to your best guy, right? And that's what people talked about, why they needed a Calvin Ridley in this offense, a guy where when everything's wrong, you go to him and he can make the play. And the past couple of weeks, he just hasn't been quite able to make that play.
The offensive line is not giving Trevor the time, and that's why the offense is struggling. Do you buy into that?
I buy that one. That's part of the problem, for sure. The offensive line play has been bad. Is there hope on the way? Maybe a little bit. Look, I know it's an overreaction kind of Monday. I'm not telling people that it's like doom and gloom around the Jaguars and you should jump off the hype train, because that would be the overreaction. This is still a talented team. But you're in a special place where when people have criticized Cam Robinson year in and year out, and now everybody's sitting there waiting like Cam's on the way. That's the reinforcements for the offensive line. It's like how quickly that tune can change. The offensive line can get better. Cam Robinson can be a part of the solution there. But this is an offensive line group that is just not what it needs to be. And how much better they can get, that's a big question mark because they weren't that great last year.
Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4. The most maddening thing to me is Doug Peterson in the press conference yesterday was once again asked about the pass rush. C.J. Stroud had been sacked 11 times in 2 games. They had 4 backup offensive linemen. And you, me, anybody in the media, and pretty much any fan that covers this team worth anything had been screaming the entire offseason. Go get Ngakoue. Go get Justin Houston. Go get Leonard Floyd. Go get somebody. Trade for Danielle Hunter. You got to get somebody in. And everything we heard over and over and over was we believe in our young guys. We have talent there. There's talent in this building. Guys are going to emerge. Well, that's not true. They're not emerging. They're not affecting the quarterback at all. And it looked like when Peterson was asked that yesterday, Jamal, you were in the room. It looked like he didn't have an answer, man. He paused for 10 seconds. It was weird. Took a couple of deep breaths. I don't know. Is he out of answers when it comes to affecting the opposing quarterback?
Look, when you can't get home against a team that's missing 4 of the starters on their offensive line, there's a problem. I mean, the Texans were imagine if the Jaguars were missing 4 starters along the offensive line. Imagine how Trevor would be running for his life. He's doing it with their starters in there. So the Texans were missing 4 out of 5 starters. Laramie Tunsil, great player, wasn't playing. And somehow, some way, they couldn't get home against C.J. Stroud. That's a problem. And it's a problem that they know has been there that we talked about. They kind of tried to downplay it. They said, Josh Allen needs to have the big year. Trayvon Walker is taking that next step, and they're going to be the solution. Well, Josh Allen right now, he got 3 sacks in week 1, and 2 of those sacks were kind of sketch at best, so he really got 1 sack. He got home a little bit yesterday, but not nearly dynamic enough. Trayvon Walker, who, I went on record saying I thought was going to take a big step forward. I think he's a great run defender, but he hasn't taken that step as a pass rusher. And these are things that people on the outside looking in kept pointing the finger at, but maybe they were too close to the problem and just didn't want to see it for what it is. And now you can't avoid it.
Do you have issues with the Jaguars secondary, the way they played against Houston?
Look, I think the secondary is going to be fine overall. I think that's the least of the concerns. Normally secondaries get exposed when there's no pass rush. I mean, Tank Dell got that wide open one, but, Darius Williams just made the wrong read. Tank Dell's a shifty, fast guy. Once you make that wrong step, you ain't catching him. I think the secondary will be fine. In order to make the secondary look better, you got to get some pressure on the quarterback. When C.J. Stroud's just back there hanging out, there's nothing you're going to be able to do.
Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4. All right, so, look, we're all searching for answers. Nobody really knows what the problem is, and now they're going to London. And I guess the thought is maybe this is a good thing, right? They're leaving on Thursday. They'll be gone for 10, 11 days, kind of get outside the city, get away from the noise. The problem is they're playing 2 good teams over there, right? Atlanta's better than people thought, and Buffalo is very good, just absolutely destroyed Washington on Sunday. I mean, what's your thought about the Jaguars amidst all this turmoil now going to London for the next 2 games?
So I asked some guys in the locker room after the game, and the decision was almost kind of split. The offensive guys said, you know what, it'll be good to get kind of out of our area, get out of the comfort zone, go to London. It can bring the team together, shake things up, maybe get that spark. The defensive guys kind of went the other way. They were like, look, it's just the next game. We got to go out there and figure out how to get it right. It doesn't matter where we're playing the game at. So, look, even the locker room's kind of split on if this is going to be the thing that rattles their cage and gets them going. If something's going to spark them, I think it should be that butt whipping that happened on Sunday. Last year, we talk about those games a lot, and the Jaguars trailed in a bunch of them, but they only got blown out 1 time last year, and that was against the Lions. And after that Lions game, it was like the light switch went on, the team started playing different, and they were better after it and better for it. This butt whipping came earlier in the year. Now, the question is, can they have that same sort of reaction, same sort of spark? I asked Christian Kirk that, and he said he sure hopes so. He said that game sparked a lot of conversations where guys were talking outside the building and being candid and open and honest. And he's hoping that this loss is going to spark those same open, honest conversations. And it's sure better, because if those problems that happened on the field against the Texans keep showing up, this season is going to get off the tracks really quickly.
Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4. Jamal, final question. The fan base is panicking. They're fans. That's what they do. They're either panicking or they're furious. Again, you're around the team every day. You're in every press conference. You're in every locker room session. Your level of concern after the 1-2 start?
Look, I don't think they have the answer for the problems they have right now, but I wouldn't press the panic button. Look, I know this hype train for this team has been building for a while. People have been jumping on board for months, it feels like, and now it feels like it's starting to come off the tracks and people are hopping off. If I was y'all, I would hold on for just a little bit longer. I think there's a little bit of concern, but the talent is still there. The AFC South is still a down division. I said it at the beginning of last year, and I'll say it now. The Jaguars should still get into the playoffs because their division is weak, and they should be able to win the division with 8-9 wins. It's not the 13 people were jumping on board for or whatever, but 8-9 wins should be enough to get you in the playoffs. And once you're in the postseason show, anything can happen from there. So I'd hold on. I think this thing's going to get corrected. Doug Peterson's going to get things pointed in the right direction at some point or another. I highly doubt that this skid continues.
Jamal, give yourself a little bit of love, man. Teal the Show, you and Frank Frangie. When can people watch it?
Yeah, we'll have an episode of Teal the Show coming your way tonight on Channel 4. That's at 11:20, and we'll kind of go through all the bad and then try and see if we can uncover any silver linings to what's been going on. I know there's probably not one, but we'll talk all about it tonight. That's on Channel 4 at 11:20.
Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4. Jamal, appreciate the time. I'll see you down in the Jaguar locker room later in the week.
All right, see you, man. Appreciate you having me on.
There you go, Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4 here with us on 1010XL in Jacksonville. And, yeah, looking forward to getting down into the Jaguar locker room. Tomorrow I'll talk to a couple of guys, get some one-on-one interviews to air both tomorrow and probably on Thursday. The Jaguars take off for London on Thursday, where they will play Atlanta, and then they'll wait, right? They'll wait for Buffalo to arrive. Buffalo plays Miami this week, and just a gargantuan Week 4 game. By the way, 1 o'clock. That feels wrong, right? That Buffalo and Miami is a 1 o'clock game on Sunday afternoon. But after Buffalo plays Miami, I would assume they'll wait till Thursday of next week before they head over to London. So the Jaguars will be there waiting as Jacksonville plays 2 games over there, the first time ever. But again, think about the good part of this. The Jaguars, quote, home game is this Sunday against Atlanta, but Buffalo is the home team next week. So you had to play Buffalo. You knew you had to play them, but you get them in London as opposed to having to go to Buffalo. So we will see what happens. But again, I'll be down in the Jaguar locker room tomorrow. Certainly looking forward to that. College football, big weekend coming up. There are 7 games in the Southeastern Conference this weekend. Denmark, that's always a great thing. We did my Wolfson math. There's 14 teams in the SEC. So when there's only 7 games, you know what that means? Every game is SEC versus SEC.
It just means more.
Oh, the conference, everybody plays each other this week. That includes South Carolina, Tennessee. That includes LSU, Ole Miss. That includes Alabama and Mississippi State. You got the oldest rivalry in the South with Georgia and Auburn. And, of course, you got Florida and Kentucky Saturday high noon. You'll hear it right here on 1010XL. Let's talk a little college football. Let's preview Week 5 of the college football season with my friend Brent Beard. You see him locally on First Coast News. You get him every week right here with me on Hacker After Dark. It is a Tuesday night in Jacksonville, Florida, our late night show. And we are certainly glad you stayed up late with us with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Brent Beard next on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
He was one of the nicest guys in football. Now he's one of the nicest guys on 1010XL.
Okay, yeah.
Catch David Garrard Mondays from 10 to noon on Jaguars Today.
On 1010XL.
Brought to you by your local Napa Auto Care Centers.
Coming Saturday, October the 21st, Bethune-Cookman football returns to Jacksonville's Everbank Stadium. BCU versus Southern. Get your tickets to see BCU Wildcats host to Southern University in their first matchup since 2006 with a special halftime performance from the Marching Wildcats and the SU Human Jukebox. Tickets are on sale now. BCU versus Southern, October the 21st at Everbank Stadium. Info at jacksonville.com. Get your tickets now.
Here's your 1010XL First Coast Community Calendar.
To play golf and pickleball while helping local charities at the Mormons Miracle Foundation Tournaments, Auction, and VIP Party October 20th, call 783-1878.
To learn more about the Jericho School Golf Tournament and silent auction at Blue Sky Golf Club October 21st, visit thejerichoschool.org.
Make a difference on the golf course, playing one of the best tournaments, and help make Jacksonville a safer place to live and raise our families. The First Coast Crime Stalkers Golf Tournament is October 23rd at Amelia River Club. Call 398-5883.
The Knights of Columbus 5535 Annual Golf Tournament is November 6th at Glen Kernan Country Club. To find out how to play or sponsor, call 249-5535.
To walk in the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society Light the Night Walk on November 16th at UNF. Register at lightthenight.org.
If you're involved in a community event and you'd like us to help spread the word, find out how at 1010XL.com.
Hey there, all you sports dads rocking the best dad bod possible. We love seeing you eat tacos by the handful, and we love it when you bring your kids here too. For years, Lucy claimed that her favorite thing on the menu was sopapillas, with a big scoop of ice cream. I know that's not a taco, but that never stopped her. I was shooting for Dad of the Year anyway, so I just let it happen. Taco Lou's a great place to bring the family. There's something for everyone, as long as it starts with a taco. And a margarita for mom is always a good thing. At Taco Lou in Jacksonville Beach.
The best golfing weather is upon us, and Hidden Hills Golf Club invites you to enjoy your round of golf with us. Our warm and welcoming atmosphere and spectacular golf course keeps our customers coming back. Check us out at hiddenhillsgc.com. You'll be glad you did.
Men, if you're struggling with erectile dysfunction or PE, the medical providers at Prime Men's Medical Center offer breakthrough treatments that eliminate problems in the bedroom without pain or surgery. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Prime Men's Medical Center offers the most advanced treatments to eliminate ED and PE. 98% of men experience instant results on their first office visit. They're even lasting 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
Don't just take our word for it. Call Prime Men's Medical Center now for our limited time offer. Your initial consultation and first treatment are completely free. You'll see instant results right in the office. You'll even get a gift that enhances your performance in the bedroom. All this, worth hundreds of dollars, is free if you call now. 904-664-8217. 904-664-8217. That's 904-664-8217.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On September 26, 1978, New York District Judge Constance Baker Motley rules that women sports writers cannot be banned from locker rooms.
Hey there, hot stuff. Duck Duck Air Conditioning is here to quack you up and cool you down. Tired of melting like a popsicle in summer? Our AC Wizards will have you cooler than a polar bear's toenails. Give us a quack at 904-862-6769 and say goodbye to sauna living. Duck Duck Air Conditioning, because sweating is for the ducks, not you. Quackalicious comfort is just a call away. 904-862-6769.
Hey, bourbon lovers, Tim Pearson here, founder of Chattanooga Whiskey, the only Tennessee high malt. Did you know that Chattanooga Whiskey was awarded Craft Producer of the Year by Whiskey Magazine? It's true. We spent years perfecting our uniquely crafted, award-winning style of bourbon we call Tennessee high malt, with notes of butterscotch, toasted honey, and chocolate-covered cherries. And since the fall is finally here, so is bourbon season. Celebrate with a bourbon that is truly the world's best in craft. Drink Chattanooga Whiskey, enjoy responsibly.
Discover the difference that local expertise makes at First Coast Lighting and Fans. Visit their showroom at the Avenues and browse high-quality products to match your desire for elegance, quality, and uniqueness at First Coast Lighting and Fans.
At the First Coast YMCA, you'll find much more than just a gym. We offer many ways to help you be active, reach weight loss goals, and find your inner strength while you connect with your community. Family memberships at the Y include unlimited group exercise classes, childcare while you work out, and youth sports participation. It's easy to join the Y and affordable for all. Plus, the Y is a great place to meet a new circle of friends. Visit the Y near you or online at fcymca.org.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars, protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555, Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Florida State and Miami both are off to 4-0 starts, both enjoying a little downtime before they crank things back up a week from Saturday. And Florida getting ready for all of a sudden what appears to be a very big game in Lexington at noon on Saturday. With that, let me welcome in my friend Brent Beard. You see him locally on First Coast News. You also get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Mr. Beard, how are you, sir?
Well, I'm doing well. Good to be with you too, Hack. Look, and it's early. We're not quite at the midway part, but we're close. But could we see on the horizon the best year for Miami, Florida, and Florida State, Hank, that we've seen in years?
It appears that way. And look, since Florida State and Miami are both off this week, it's time to decompress a little bit. 4 games down, 8 games to go. Let's begin with the Noles, Brent. That's a huge win. I had people on social media telling me, and they were Gator fans, I believe, obviously. Oh, well, they're number 4 and beating an unranked team. It wasn't that big. I thought Saturday's win over Clemson was enormous for Mike Norvell in that program.
It was enormous for a bunch of reasons. Number one is because they had not beaten Clemson since 2014. That is a big deal, to say the least. And oh, by the way, the ACC, the only conference with 6 undefeated teams. And the last time that happened through 4 weeks was in 2012 with the SEC. So, really, tremendous start for the Noles. And they won a game where they really weren't ahead until the very end. Now, this is for a lot of coaches, but Mike Norvell at Florida State was 3-10 in his first 13 games. In the next 15 games, he was 9-6. In his last 10 games, he's 10-0. So you can see a gradual progression there with this, and they won that game despite being outgained 429 to 311. Now, they weren't perfect. Now, you and I have talked about this. Would it be safe to say that Keon Coleman, Hack, is one of the most pleasant transfers and evolving into one of the biggest stars in the entire ACC right now?
Well, it's clear why he was the coveted prize, if you will, of the transfer portal. And that's the thing, Brent. And Norvell has done this. It started with Jermaine Johnson. Then you go to Jared Verse and Johnny Wilson and Keon Coleman, and there's certainly more guys. He's not just bringing in transfers that help his football team. He's bringing in transfers that have transformed his football team, which to me is why he is the proclaimed king of the transfer portal.
Well, there are a bunch of them. I mean, Jared Verse has been incredible, and you've got him on the defensive side of the ball. But again, Jordan Travis continues to play well and be able to do his thing too. So they have been, and we talked about this at the beginning of the season, that if they could split LSU Clemson, that would be amazing, much less beating both of them. So they've got a well-deserved time off at this point. I don't think even the most ardent Noel fan thought they would be undefeated at this point, having won both of those games. Frankly, and again, Jordan Travis and the offense gets so much attention, but probably the play of the game was Kalen DeLoach hitting Cabe Klubnik, picking up the ball and going for a 56-yard touchdown. So the defense is not perfect for the Noles, Hack, but, boy, it comes up big when it needs to.
You see Brent Beard locally on First Coast News. You also get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Brent, another 4-0 team enjoying a week off is the Miami Hurricanes. Now, they've played 4 games, huge win over A&M. The other 3 were, paycheck games by and large, although Miami very little trouble at Temple. I thought that was a pretty good win, to be honest.
Yes.
But certainly Mario Cristobal has got to be very, very pleased 4-0 to begin the year.
No doubt. And again, the A&M win was gargantuan for them because they really punished A&M toward the end of the game. And the biggest thing for them, I believe, is what Shannon Dawson, the offensive coordinator, who is new, has done with Tyler Van Dyke. I mean, Van Dyke right now is one of the better quarterbacks in the ACC. And we think just a year ago, wasn't that long ago, he was benched against Middle Tennessee. So he has really got things together. He was 17 of 24, 0 interceptions for the 3rd straight game. They're running the ball well, too. Henry Parrish, Mark Fletcher, Don Chaney have all done well. They've got some deep threats. Xavier Restapro has proven to be that way. Their rush defense held Temple to 11 yards total. Now they're getting some injuries, so this is a good time for them to be off at this point. But for Miami, and again, now think about this, Hack, we haven't seen this in a while. Man, how big could that Miami at Florida State and Tallahassee gave me in a few weeks?
Yeah, it could be absolutely enormous, and you led me into my next question. Is Miami the biggest barrier left for Florida State to an undefeated regular season? I know Florida State has Duke, and you kind of laugh at that. Duke's playing very good. In fact, game day is going to be there when they play Notre Dame, and we'll get to Florida. The Noles still have to go to Gainesville, obviously. But as we sit right now, is Miami the biggest team in their way?
Probably. Now, don't laugh at this, but if the Gators were to get on a roll, you could certainly throw them in there too. But again, I mean, now they've got Virginia Tech coming up. That'll be an easy win. Syracuse is playing well. They've got Syracuse and Duke in mid-October, so that's something to consider. Now they go to Wake and Pittsburgh. They're better than both those teams. And then you've got Miami really at a good time. I mean, think about this, Hank. You've got Miami after you play at Pitt. Now, November 4th, the weather could be pretty nasty up there. And then November 18th, you've got UNA, North Alabama, so you'll have a break before you play Florida. So it sounds like, Hank, doesn't the schedule play out rather well for them right now?
Yeah, it appears to, no question about it. And, yeah, Syracuse was one of those undefeated teams. They're 4-0. And Duke, and not to spend a lot of time on Duke, but I watched them last week. They're a fun team to watch with Riley Leonard. And, again, game day making their first trip to Durham this Saturday as Notre Dame comes in to play the Duke Blue Devils. Again, Brent Beard, you see him on First Coast News. You also get him right here on Hacker After Dark. Brent, that leads me to the Gators. And look, when they lost to Utah, it was like, oh, my goodness, how bad could this season get? And then the Tennessee win was gigantic. They did not dominate last week, but the defense looked good. The special teams looked good, and a win over Charlotte. Now here we are, 3-1 Florida at 4-0 Kentucky, Saturday at noon. All of a sudden, a pretty big game in the SEC East.
Listen, this is a huge game for both of these teams. Now, Kentucky's won 3 of the past 5. Geez, when Florida was on that incredible streak against Kentucky, we really didn't think that would happen because Florida beat Kentucky 31 times in a row. Now, here's a wonderful piece of trivia. the last Kentucky coach to beat Florida 3 years in a row was Bear Bryant from 49 to 51. Hack, how about that? And if Stoops wins, he could be the next one. But look, this is remember you and I have talked about at the beginning of the year. There were several games on Florida's schedule that we talked and said these were 50-50 games. You didn't quite know if they would win or not. It's a winnable game, but at the same time, they could also lose it. So they're hoping to get Kingsley Aguakin back. I think that would help them. They've got a nice matchup possibly between Maxwell Hairston, the Kentucky receiver cornerback that had 2 pick sixes. Lord, some people don't have one in a lifetime, do they? Much less 2 in a game, as he had against Vanderbilt. But Hairston against Ricky Pearsall could be a lot of fun. And by the way, I know you've seen it by now. Have you seen a Gator receiver make a better one-handed catch in a long time?
It was a crazy catch, absolutely crazy catch by Ricky Pearsall, and Florida's been posting a lot of it on social media, certainly getting their money's worth out of that play. Brent, my thought on the game is this. Look, am I going to pick Kentucky to win? I'm probably leaning that way. I'll make it official later in the week, but I can't help but think Florida's already played Utah and Tennessee.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Kentucky has not really played anybody. I mean, you could argue their toughest competition was Vanderbilt last week. I think that matters. Florida, if nothing else, is certainly more seasoned already this year for a matchup like this.
There's no question, and that helps them tremendously. In the game that really is it really helped them is the Utah game with that physicality. Now, one thing Florida's got to do, and if you know the answer to this, Hank, please tell me. But why in the world, when you've got Trevor Etienne coming off that Tennessee situation, that Trevor Etienne hardly got the ball in the Charlotte game? Now they, in fairness, they may have been saving him with that game. But, I mean, when you got less than 10 carries, that was a bit of a head-scratcher. They certainly can't do that against Kentucky, and they still get a little frustrated in the red zone, as they certainly did against Charlotte. But, boy, the defense is up to number 5 in the nation in total defense, number 1 in the SEC. I think that's the biggest improvement that they've had. But there is absolutely no question about how big a game this is. And again, Hack, think about this a minute. If they could beat Kentucky and South Carolina in a few weeks and come into Jacksonville against an undefeated Georgia, boy, what a battle, or at least what hype we would have during that time. And even if Florida splits between Kentucky and South Carolina, I think that would be very significant to come into that game with only 2 losses when people thought it probably would be double that. Now, look, we know, both of us know, Florida's not ready to be in the top 10, but they have made improvement, but they need to keep going, don't they, Hank? Saturday in Lexington.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, Las Vegas had the over-under win total at 5.5. I mean, you might be able to get that before Halloween if you take care of business here over the next couple of weeks. The Gator defense, 5th in the country, 1st in the SEC in a lot of statistical categories. Is that lack of competition? Is that real? Do you buy into Austin Armstrong right now, Brent?
Yeah, I really do. I've been really high on Armstrong. Now look, I know the guy's 29 years old, but that doesn't matter. He knows what he's doing. He's got a lot of energy. He's got these players in the right position where they need to be, and that's important. They're allowing only 4.2 yards per play. I mean, that's good against neighborhood kids in the backyard. So, I think once he really gets his players in there, and listen, Hank, and it's going to be hard to keep him. They're going to have to pay him a lot, but probably at the end of the year. people may scoff at that right now. But no, I think this guy is a great mind and has great potential as a defensive coordinator in the SEC or wherever.
Final moments here with Brent Beard. You see him on First Coast News. You get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Brent, it is a full week of SEC games. We can't hit all of them. Let's just do the greatest hits. Auburn on the Plains, do they have anything for Georgia?
No, particularly the point where they're having incredible trouble at quarterback, and one of their better running backs, Damari Alston, is out for several weeks. I mean, they're trying to figure out, frankly, Auburn is, who the quarterback needs to be. But Peyton Thorne, the Michigan State transfer, was terrible. Robbie Asher went much better. Holden Grenier may end up being the guy. Now, Georgia's not perfect. Landon McConkey still hasn't played, and their offensive line has had some struggles. Carson Beck's got 1,100 yards, so he's done, frankly, rather well, the third most by a Georgia quarterback at this point after 4 games. But again, now you understand this like I do. When you play at Auburn, you can always get some Auburn voodoo somewhere, meaning like in the A&M game. Did you see this play where the tackle is made, ball pops up in the air, and basically return? I guess you'd call that an interception, or maybe just a fumble, but you still got stuff like that goes on. But Auburn would need 3 or 4 of those when they had to beat Georgia.
Yeah, I like the Dogs in this game. Tennessee, South Carolina, that should be a good one. Both teams really need this one, Brent, to stay in the SEC East race.
Yeah, and South Carolina, remember, really shocked Tennessee last year, so I'm sure that will be something that they will be talking about. But heck, I'm sure you called this like I have. Boy, Spencer Rattler's looking good, isn't he? I mean, it was. I mean, Rattler's one of these guys over the last few games that he started the game like 13 of 13 and so forth. I mean, he's only missing 3 or 4 passes in a game, which is amazing. Tennessee kind of righted themselves against UTSA, but in the game is in Knoxville. This is a big game for both these teams. It's kind of a 50-50 game for them. I mean, look, a win like this may determine in the long run which bowl game you go to.
Brent, we got 60 seconds. Give us one more SEC game you're looking forward to on Saturday.
Well, I mean, you've always got to wonder. I mean, LSU, Ole Miss. I mean, does Ole Miss rebound after Alabama? LSU still continues to play well. They're still one of the better teams in the league, although their defense is really struggling. And can Alabama continue their streak against Mississippi State in Starkville? And look, this Arkansas A&M game in Arlington, isn't that always a really good game, Hack? I mean, it's a very emotional game. We haven't seen Rocket Sanders for Arkansas yet. And listen, if Arkansas has another minute or minute and a half, they may beat LSU last Saturday night.
It's a great thing when you see 7 games on the SEC conference slate, and there's 14 teams. So, you know, all 7 are SEC versus SEC, and that's exactly what we have on Saturday. Brent Beard, you see him on First Coast News. You get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Brent, it'll be a great Saturday of SEC football. Let's enjoy it, and let's recap it next week.
Good. Can't wait, pal. Take care.
Hear ye, hear ye. London is calling. It's the return to legendary Wembley Stadium.
Welcome to Camelot.
A chance to make history in a house of historical performances.
It's quite unbelievable.
It's the London Special.
I wouldn't miss that for the world. It'd be smashing good fun.
Jaguars, Falcons, live in London. Sunday morning at 9:30 on 1010XL.
It's my radio.
Home of the Jaguars.
London calling.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Hey everyone, it's football season and we wanted to go to the drawing board to make this year's predictions. Let's compare our 2 long-haired blonde all-stars. Most touchdowns, best pricing in the market, most passing yards, pays the most for your trade, most receptions, free oil changes with every purchase, Super Bowl champion, wow customer service. I think we can make all this happen. Come see Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville, where you can score big all season long.
The Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute is now offering online scheduling for new patient appointments for all of their physicians. Simply schedule your appointment on your cell phone, tablet, or desktop. JOI is the first orthopedic practice in North Florida to offer this feature to patients. To schedule your appointment online, visit joi.net and click on the button at the top of the page. If you'll be using insurance, be sure and have your information handy. JOI, where the pros go.
Perfect Rag Billiards in Murray Hill is your spot to be for all your football needs. Full liquor bar, 8 pool tables, darts, and shuffleboard. Weekend specials include happy hour all day Friday to $3 seltzer Saturdays, along with wing and pitcher specials on Sunday. Watching the Jag game, $19 domestic buckets on game day. There isn't a better place to play pool, have a beer, and just kick back. Perfect Rag Billiards on Edgewood and Murray Hill. The best place in Jax to watch sports.
The IRS has just received $80 billion in funding to hire additional agents for aggressive collections enforcement. If you owe the IRS, now is the time to take action before the IRS comes after you or your business. There's no time to waste. Call J. David Tax Law, a firm right here in Jacksonville, for a no-cost consultation at 904-507-4777. That's 904-507-4777. Or visit jdavidtaxlaw.com. Peace of mind is only a click or phone call away. Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL FM, Jacksonville Beach.
Frank Franzi here for Stanley Pools. There's a reason so many of my friends and our listeners have had Stanley Pools build their pools and now maintain their pools, because Stanley Pools truly cares about their customers. Stanley Pools is locally owned and has been serving our community for 35 years. For all of your pool needs, call Stanley Pools at 269-7277. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools. 269-7277, or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com.
Summertime is here, and it's time to cast those worries out. And Royal is here to help you do that with our Summer Termite Special, featuring Centricon. Starting at just $249. That's right, I said $249, and that's installed.
Visit RoyalPestServices.com.
Right now, Zero Res is falling back in time for September. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $129, and they'll clean a 4th room for free. Their 4th room on me. Zero Res, spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
Are you looking to buy a new home? Need cash now instead of having to wait for your current house to sell? Don't get ripped off by one of those I buy your house people. Call Loan Pronto. Hey, Prosser here. Loan Pronto's Dream Home Bridge Loan can help you tap your equity so you can get the cash you need. Make a clean offer on that new home or that investment property with cash to cover the down payment. With this amazing program, you can get the cash in a matter of days. Very little paperwork, and usually no appraisal is needed. So you can go after the house you want with no contingency. Then when your current house sells, the bridge loan completely disappears. Don't put off your dream. Let Loan Pronto help you leverage your equity so you can get the cash to make a solid, clean offer. Call now, 904-999-1508. Ask about the Dream Home Bridge Loan now. That's loanpronto.com at 999-1508. That's 999-1508. Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1661781. Subsequent approval, NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
Matt Hayes here. Looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this football season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play double fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projection for a wide variety of statistics, and place your entry. It's as easy as that. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Easy gameplay, quick withdrawals, and an enormous selection of players and stat options are what make Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Ready to test your skills? Join the Prize Picks community of more than 7 million football fans who have already signed up. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/1010XL and use the code 1010XL. That's code 1010XL at prizepicks.com/1010XL for a first deposit match to $100. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars, protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. We're glad you're with us. Our late night show every Tuesday, 10 to midnight here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM, setting the scene for the high school spotlight. That comes up for the next 45 minutes or so. We'll check in with Justin Barney of Channel 4. We'll also talk to Sean McIntyre, the head coach of Creekside High School, as they get ready for a big district game Friday night against Oakleaf. We'll also talk to Marcus Wells, the head coach of Episcopal, as they get ready for a big district game against Bowles. In fact, that Bowles and Episcopal matchup you will hear on 1010 a.m. You'll hear Bishop Kenny against my alma mater, the Wolves and Wolfpack, on 92.5 FM Friday night. And, of course, after those games go final, we will have the Friday Night Lights postgame. Week 6 of the high school football season, district games all over the place. These are the games you need to win if you want to go to the postseason in the world of high school football. So Justin Barney of Channel 4, Marcus Wells of Episcopal, and Sean McIntyre of Creekside High School all straight ahead. Tuesday night edition, Hacker After Dark with Dylan Denmark, the Hacker Ryan Green with you. We're glad you're with us right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
It's an epic adventure.
I don't believe you.
Would you believe 24 Delta Force commandos?
No.
Go behind enemy lines with Jags beat reporter Hayes Carline.
How about Chuck Norris with a BB gun?
Brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors on 1010XL.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. Hurricanes happen in Florida. That's not news. But what happens even more often than hurricanes are home break-ins. And if security is important to you, you might want to look into hurricane-rated impact windows.
What you may not know is that hurricane-rated impact windows not only help protect your home in case of a hurricane, but they also offer another level of security for your home.
Have you seen those videos on YouTube that show people trying to break through an impact window? A thief is way too lazy to spend his energy trying to break through one of our impact windows. That's why he doesn't have a real job like you. He'd rather break your non-impact window while you're at work. Window World has high-quality, very affordable hurricane-rated impact windows to help protect your home from hurricanes and from lazy thieves.
Call us today at 904-443-7001. Get a free estimate and see for yourself. You save energy, get more security, and the windows add value to your home. With all Window World windows, you get the best guarantee in the window replacement business.
Window World, simply the best for less. And thank you for your business.
Hey sports fans, it's Hayes Carline for QC Kinetics. The future of joint pain relief is here. It's QC Kinetics, advanced regenerative medicine. This is amazing stuff. If you've been told more steroids or surgery are your only options, don't be so fast. Get a second opinion and learn more about how you can harness your body's own healing agents to attack that joint pain. You've got to go see QC Kinetics. You can call to set up a free consultation at Mandarin or Ponte Vedra locations at 904-274-5522. Again, 274-5522. Imagine living your life this fall with no more pain in your knees, your hips, shoulders, back, with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery. Look, life is about motion, and QC Kinetics is giving people their lives back with these all-natural treatments. Again, give them a call. 904-274-5522. That's QC Kinetics.
Time now for a medical recap. A health and wellness tip from Jaguars head team physician, Dr. Kevin Kaplan.
Rotator cuff tears are the most common overhead injuries I see. In order to avoid shoulder issues, make sure not to overload the front of the shoulder while also focusing on developing good scapular strength and maintaining flexibility in your lats. Proper hydration, nutrition, and supplementation are also crucial to joint and muscle health. Go Jag.
It's time to play Fix That Air Conditioning Problem. What do you do when your AC stops working? Contestant 1?
Put a box fan in the window?
No, that doesn't really fix the problem. Contestant 2? That's right, just call the Duck.
Don't let AC problems linger. Call the pros at Duck Duck Air Conditioning. Commercial, residential, any HVAC issue or project.
When you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769.
1010XL celebrates athletic and academic greatness.
Listen for the High School Scholar Athlete Wednesdays on The Frangie Show.
Brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
And the Plumbers and Pipefitters Local Union 234 on 1010XL.
Let John Smith Subs be your first choice for huge, mouth-watering subs and sports talk. Because John Smith Subs doesn't play games with flavor, so every visit feels like a championship celebration. Experience the thrill of the grill with specialty subs like the famous steak bomb and the gator with chicken, steak, bacon, kielbasa, and a little swamp sauce. Plus a full lineup of cold and hot deli subs, including the best Cuban in Duval. Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs on Hodges and JTB.
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called the Vault. Enter today at jaguars.com/shadows. One winner a guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase to enter or win, must be 18 or older and a legal resident of Florida or Georgia. Promotion period 9/5/23 through 12/15/23. For official rules and complete details, visit jaguars.com. Sponsored by Jacksonville Jaguars, LLC.
Hey, bourbon lovers. Tim Pierson here, founder of Chattanooga Whiskey, the only Tennessee high malt. Now that it's football season, we have the perfect team lineup for you with our award-winning bourbons, Chattanooga 91, Cask 111, and 99 Rye, the trifecta for any game day tailgate. There's no better way to celebrate a win than with the world's best craft producer of the year, awarded by Whiskey Magazine. So get the W this weekend. Drink Chattanooga whiskey, enjoy responsibly.
Are you a meat lover searching for quality cuts? Southern Steer Butcher uses a vacuum tumbler to marinate and tenderize our chicken and world-famous steak tips.
Now open in Ortega. For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
Men suffering from ED or PE, you'll see instant results on your first visit at Prime Men's Medical Center. For a limited time, your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free. You'll even get a gift that enhances performance in the bedroom. Call 904-664-8217.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line. Time now for Hackers High School Spotlight on Hacker After Dark.
And welcome into the High School Spotlight, 1010XL 92.5 FM, as we are at the midway point of the high school football season. A lot has already transpired, and there is certainly a lot more to come beginning this Friday night with a big one between Creekside and Oakleaf. Speaking of Creekside, what a huge win they had last Friday over the previously undefeated Mandarin Mustangs. With that, let's go out to St. Johns County. My friend Sean McIntyre is the head coach at Creekside High School, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Coach, how we doing?
Man, doing great, Hacker. It's a beautiful Monday morning. Just excited for the remainder of the season.
Coach, look, last Friday, huge win against Mandarin. Undefeated Mandarin team, one of the best teams in Northeast Florida, and for that matter, maybe one of the best teams in the state. You fall behind 16-0, and your guys find a way to come back, ultimately get it done in the fourth quarter. Boy, you must have been very, very proud last week.
Oh, extremely proud, Hacker. My coaching staff had a great game plan. We wanted to shorten the game, and we wanted to run the ball. We wanted to make sure they didn't have any explosives on offense, and we wanted to create a couple turnovers on defense. We went down 16-0 before we got the ball. They got the ball to start the game and went on a long drive. Took like probably 6 minutes off the clock. Then the Sky kicked it to us and took a bad bounce, went right to one of their kids, and we didn't execute very well on that play. But they got the ball back. They go down and score again, and they have some awesome. Coach Bullock's doing a tremendous job with their team, and they have some awesome 2-point stuff that we had no chance of stopping the first two conversions, and we are down 16-0 before we take our first snap. So just our kids are resilient. They have a lot of grit. Nobody hung their heads. Nobody, we've played some pretty tough opponents thus far this year. And so our kids understand how to respond and how to move forward. And I'm proud of them for that. So we were able to claw our way back in the first half and make it 17-16 after a couple of turnovers. And we kicked a field goal and got a couple scores by Harrison Garrido, our running back. And just really proud of our kids for the way they executed our game plan on Friday.
Sean McIntyre of Creekside. Coach, clearly the year did not start the way you wanted it to, but having said that, your competition level was insane. You had one of the toughest schedules in Northeast Florida, and I guess, a win like Friday night over Mandarin, boy, that's got to give you guys a lot of confidence really getting into the meat of your district schedule now.
Oh, for sure. You need to have some of the proof in the pudding for the kids. Our kids never stop believing. We've obviously had some success, limited success, but successful the last few years. But this group is a whole new group of kids. Every team's like, just because we won games last year doesn't mean we're going to win games this year. And our kids are finding that out. And last week we had our best week of practice. We were able to put some things behind us on a daily basis and move forward. And that's what we're doing right now. Our kids are in the weight room getting after it right now. And we've moved on from Friday and we're on to Oakleaf.
And it's all right in front of you. You got Oakleaf, you got Fleming, you got Bartram, I believe over the next month, all three of those games. It begins Friday night with Oakleaf. And, boy, that's just a good game. We talk about the District of Doom or whatever you want to call it. You're in probably the toughest district in Northeast Florida, one of the best in Clay County, one of the best in St. Johns County. That should be a lot of fun on Friday night.
Yeah, for sure. Coach Foy is doing a tremendous job with Oakleaf. Those kids they gave Bulls all they wanted on Friday nights, and they are all on the same page, moving forward together, playing extremely hard. You can see his culture and his impact on that team and the way that they're playing the game of football right now. So they're doing a great job. They're going to be a handful for us on Friday. Our kids, we'll be ready to play, and we're excited for the opportunity.
Is that the thinking when you schedule such tough competition at the beginning of the year, Coach? You know that your district play is as good as you're going to find in Northeast Florida, so you want to have your kids ready for games like Friday night?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. That it kind of worked. It kind of just happened to us. I don't know if that was necessarily always the plan to be that difficult of a schedule, but it kind of just happened to us. And you don't always get what you want, but you get what you deserve. And we're at a point where when we had a week one opening after a team dropped us this past year, the options were all state semifinalists the previous year, and Palm Beach Central came to us and we lost by a touchdown, but that got us ready to play a team like Mandarin with the receivers that they had, and our kids weren't, I can't replicate the speed of Jamie French on our practice field, but Palm Beach Central surely did a good job of that for us, and Buholtz and Richmond Hill had some kids that could fly. So it's one of those things where we are in a situation where we're trying to make the next step. We've gone from average to good, and going that step from good to great is huge. And you can't be great unless you be great people. And by no means are we great yet, but we're trying to make that step. So we've got to play more consistently with people who are great and figure it out. And our kids are doing that on the fly, and they are not batting an eye. They're ready to go. So I'm proud of them for the grit, the fortitude, and the attitude they bring on a daily basis.
Final moments here with Sean McIntyre, the head coach of Creekside. They have a big district game against Oakleaf on Friday night. Coach, it wasn't that long ago where you were one of the new guys in the area, right? At least as far as the head coach goes. And now you look around, you're the elder statesman in that district, at least in tenure with your job, and you're one of the elder statesmen, honestly, of the entire Northeast Florida area. From where Sean McIntyre was as a head coach, say 4 or 5 years ago, to where you are now, what have you improved the most, in your opinion?
I think it's not me. I think I'm more even keeled, and I understand that there's going to be things that come across my desk that it's just part of the job. But I think I've been very fortunate that we have some men on my staff. I have 3 guys who've been with me since day one. We have 4 to 5 more guys now. So we got over 10 that have been with me for more than 3 years. And those men, they are as committed to Creekside football as I am. They are committed to our kids. They are good people who develop our kids in the right way to be great men. And then they teach them football at a really high level. So I think just the understanding how important staff continuity is, how important staff consistency is there's nothing more important in my book. I don't coach every kid on our team. My coaches do. And they are doing a great job with it. And I'm proud of them as much as I am of all of our kids. I love those guys, and we wouldn't be where we are without them.
It's a big home game on Friday night, Coach. Invite folks out. Oakleaf, Creekside, and St. Johns County. It should be a good one.
Yes, sir. We're excited for it. Nights on nights. So Friday night at the Castle, it'll be a good time. It'll be rocking.
Sean McIntyre, the head coach of Creekside High School. Coach, best of luck on Friday night. We hope we're talking to you under the Friday night lights.
Those are always great calls, Hacker. I hope so too. We look forward to it.
And thank you to Creekside head coach Sean McIntyre for joining us tonight here on the High School Spotlight on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Another key district game is a game you will hear right here on 1010 AM Friday evening as Episcopal and Bowles get together. First district game for both teams. With that, let me welcome in Marcus Wells, the head coach of Episcopal. He's always kind enough to join us here on the High School Spotlight. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Hacker. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Hey, Coach, we're good. Thank you for the time. And all right, 3-1, right, to begin the year, coming on a 2-game winning streak. How do you like the way your team is looking 4 games into the season?
4 games in, we're still trying to find ourselves a little bit because we're replacing so many guys, particularly on offense and defense. We've kind of sputtered, but we're slowly finding our groove. We keep talking about closing the gap. And we've done that every single week. We just need to fine-tune some things, and we'll get after it this week in practice and try to do that.
We talked when you beat West Nassau. That's a big win for you guys. And I know you play Inglewood in a couple of weeks. You had a game against Orange Park last year. I don't think, Coach, people that are maybe casual high school football fans realize a school like Episcopal, when you beat a public school program like a West Nassau, that's a big win. That had to give you guys a lot of confidence.
It does, and we have to be strategic about who we play. Obviously, we can't go play Oak Leaf and then some of those bigger schools, but schools in the West Nassau range as far as size, we can play against. And we've talked about before how we have guys that go both ways, and so we have to be strategic about that. But to play some of those tougher, bigger public schools and to come out on top or to play really well and be right in the game like we were a few weeks ago against Orange Park, it says a lot about our guys and our coaching staff as well about how we prepare our players get ready to play each and every week.
Marcus Wells, the head coach of Episcopal, and it's about instilling that winning culture, right? I mean, you guys expect to win now on Friday nights at Episcopal. That wasn't always the case. From that standpoint, you must like where you are as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I've been here since Mark Brunell was the head coach. He and I kind of came in together, and he instilled that first. I got to give him credit. And we kind of got the ship turned with Mark, and I was able to continue that. And to have the success that we're continuing to have. You're right. We expect to win on Fridays, not that we hope. And so that changes our mentality as a program, as players, how we prepare during the off season as well. And in this sense, a really, really gratifying thing, especially being an alum of the school, is good to be a part of.
It's interesting. The district you guys are in, as district play for you begins on Friday. Bishop Kenny and Bowles both being in your district, and they're 2 of the standards, right? 2 private schools that you're trying to get up into those ranks, and this is the ultimate way to see where you are, to test yourself against those opponents beginning Friday night.
Absolutely. I mean, Jacksonville is really unique to have us, Bowles, BK, UC, Trinity, Providence, all these really great public schools that have really great traditions and have had success in the past, or currently are having success. There's a lot of different ways to do it throughout the city, and we're just trying to figure out which way works for our school and our program and our players, and I think we're finding that. And now to be able to take that next step and really compete for a district title and possibly beat one or both of those teams in our district is something that we're looking forward to, and it's a goal of ours.
Bowles and Episcopal Friday night here on 1010 AM. We have Episcopal head coach Marcus Wells with us on the High School Spotlight. Coach, I talked with you this offseason. Look, 1 game at a time. I get it. That's the message to your kids. But let's be honest, now that the week is here, I would imagine you've had this game circled. This is a big one for you guys on Friday.
It really is. We know that it's homecoming for Bowles. Like I said, I was an alum, and I've never played Bowles in football, so it's my first time coaching against them last year. And it's an exciting atmosphere for us to go over there and play during the playoff game last season. I mean, gave you goosebumps being on the field and to go against a staff that Coach Toblin has and what he does with his players and his program is something to be admired. And to be able to go against a team and program like that, it has to get you juiced up. And so we're excited for this week. We're excited about the challenge. We know that it is a huge challenge for us, but we're not going to back down, and we're going to fight to the end, and we're going to see where we land when the clock strikes 0.
What needs to happen on Friday night for you guys to come out on top? What are the keys?
Turnovers. We have to eliminate turnovers. We have to also not get so far behind the chains by having a penalty or a mistake. So we have to keep the drive moving, and so being methodical, moving the ball down the field, and we're gonna have to get some lucky breaks. So causing a turnover, getting a special teams play, those are the things that we're looking forward to do, and just really playing sound football and tackling well. They have great guys on the outside. They have really good running backs, and of course their quarterback is a tremendous athlete. So being able to tackle in space is going to be things that we need to do. We've shown that we can do it this season. We just have to be consistent on Friday night to be able to do that and get the win.
Final moments with Marcus Wells, the head coach of Episcopal. Coach, I would imagine one of your jobs this week is to not have your guys too amped too early. I imagine, knowing the Episcopal kids, they probably know a lot of the Bulls guys. Right. There's probably a motivation there. They want to get after it. They wish the game was being played right now. They got to wait till Friday night. How do you kind of temper that for the next couple of days?
Yeah, it's going to be difficult because as coaches, we're amped up for it. I know I'm amped up for it, but you just have to have a sense of calm. We talk about having the 3 E's, so energy, effort, and enthusiasm, and providing that every single day. And so if we do that every single day this week in practice, if we prepare the right way, if we watch film, we get our rest, eat, do all the things that we need to do, then that will take care of us getting too hyped up too soon. And so it's just a constant reminder to our players. It's only Monday, it's only Tuesday, it's only Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, we get a little ramped up. Then Friday, obviously, it's game time. We're ready to go. So that's kind of our mindset. It's worked well for us so far, but like you said, this week is different. It hits different, especially it being a district game, and we're really looking forward to it. 2
good football teams, Episcopal and Bulls. You'll hear it on 10 a.m. Friday evening. Coach, talk about the atmosphere for people listening tonight that are thinking about going to a high school football game on Friday night. They won't find a much better one than Bulls and Episcopal.
They really won't. Again, it's going to be homecoming over there, so I'm sure it's going to be packed. The game's at 7:30, and you know, we'll get over there about 6:15 just to kind of eliminate any distractions. But it's going to be loud. Like you said earlier, their players know our players, our fans know their fans. Families interact, and so there's a lot of bragging rights on the line. Good, healthy trash talking, I'm sure, amongst the fan base. But we're really looking forward to it. It's going to be an exciting night, and Bulls, it's going to be a great atmosphere for it.
Coach, best of luck on Friday. We hope we're talking to you under the Friday night lights.
Sounds good, Hacker. I appreciate the time again. Thank you.
This is the Swamp.
And off ETN's got a lead blocker, and he's loose. Midfield, broken tackle, still on his feet.
The Gators crawl on the bluegrass.
Touchdown, Gators!
Florida, Kentucky, Saturday at noon on Jacksonville's home of Florida Gators football. 1010 XLAM.
Yeah, I'm looking at the pages right now.
Thomas's translation company just lost its only 2 Spanish speakers. Without the right replacements, he'll be in problemas.
Yeah, we'll have those ready. Tonight's gonna be a late one.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. With Indeed Instant Match, we immediately show you quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed meet your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Mike Dempsey here for Underdog Fantasy's Pick'em Fantasy game, a super fun way to play along as you watch your favorite players. The way it works, you pick higher or lower on 2 to 5 player stats, then watch to see if your picks hit. It's that easy. If you haven't tried out Pick'em, now's the perfect time. Football season's back, and to celebrate, Underdog announced their newest special that will be running all season long. It's called 100K Sundays. Every Sunday, Underdog's going to be giving $10,000 in cold hard cash to 10 winners who play Pick'em. You can take your chance by playing along every Sunday. 1 entry equals 1 ticket. Will you be one of the winners? Find out by making your picks this football season. In total, they're going to be giving away $2 million. That's a real number. $2 million just to people who are making picks. Try it out today by downloading the Underdog Fantasy app. You must be 18 or older and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ncpgambling.org.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can now do it in less than a week. Hey, it's Prosser here, and that's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, or even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. And you don't even have to touch your primary mortgage, so you can keep that 3% rate intact. Just get the money you need and pay off all those credit cards, or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com or 904-999-1508. That's 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Looking for quality equipment and a name you can trust? Lepo Rents, Bobcat of Jacksonville is your premier construction equipment dealer and rental house. We have the right equipment for the job, offering the big and small tools needed for your next project. Lepo sells and rents track loaders, excavators, boom lifts, and much more. For your next project, remember Lepo Rents, your authorized Bobcat dealer in Jacksonville. Visit them online at leporents.com.
When you're a Gator fan, you get lots of reactions during the game. I'm Hayes Carline, and you'll get my instant reaction right after the Gators play. Brought to you by 5-Star Pizza, bigger, better, faster pizza on 1010XL social channels.
Ready to snag the best deals in Jacksonville? Come by Century Firearms for unbeatable prices and an extensive inventory that caters to all tastes. From hunting to shooting, we've got it all. Brands like Glock, Ruger, Smith & Wesson, Browning, and Kimber. Everything from sidearms to rifles. Need some gear for your upcoming outdoor adventures? We can load you up. Elevate your adventure today at Century Firearms, where we make buying guns easy. San Jose and Mandarin Road, online at jacksguns.com.
Follow every Gators game on 1010XL. Brought to you by Renewal by Anderson Windows and Doors, the official window and door replacement company of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars.
Atlantic Self Storage, the official storage partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Need to make room to watch football in your home, or need a place to park your boat or RV? Store it all at Atlantic Self Storage. Over 50 locations in Northeast Florida. 24-hour access, all with month-to-month leases. Moving? They can help with supplies. They make storage easy. Go to AtlanticSelfStorage.com or call 877-WE-STORE to find a storage solution near you. Go Jags!
Randy Marion Cadillac is the new name in Jacksonville.
And the place to go for the best selection of Cadillacs.
We've got XT5s and XT6s.
With 2.9% financing for 36 months.
And an additional $1,500 off if financed through Cadillac Financial.
And the price and selection you've been looking for with Cadillac certified pre-owned vehicles.
There's never been a better time to buy a Cadillac than right now.
Price and selection is what makes Randy Marion the king of price.
And a family that's been making great deals for more than 30 years.
Randy Marion Cadillac, Southside Boulevard, Jacksonville.
Tell them Jennifer sent ya.
Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying. They can also signal a major problem or electrical emergency. So leave it to the pros and Mr. Sparky.
888-8 Your on-time electrician, Mr. Sparky of the First Coast.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
And the high school spotlight rolls on. 1010XL at 92.5 FM. Boy, a lot of big district games coming up this Friday night. Week 6 of the high school football season. With that, we welcome in my friend Justin Barney of Channel 4, always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Justin, how we doing?
Not too bad. Heck, thanks for having me. Busy week, and I can't believe we're already past the halfway point of the regular season. Unbelievable. Time flies.
Yeah, it really does, man. And as we assess the halfway point, you know, you look back on last week, I thought Bowles, a really nice win over Oakleaf. I thought there were some other games that really stood out. Creekside getting a big win over Mandarin. Justin, what did you take away from last Friday night?
Yeah, really. I mean, I think the big thing is don't count out the teams that may start a little bit rough. I mean, and Creekside and Bowles are two good examples of that. Creekside with a tough start. They were 1-3, lost to some really good teams, and come out and beat Mandarin 23-22 at home. That's a third straight win in the series. And Creekside, the book on Creekside is they could score a lot, but they couldn't play defense. And what did they do last week? They played defense on probably the most talented team in the area. A couple turnovers before halftime and really flipped the momentum of that game there. 17-0 run to close the half, and they hold Mandarin to just 6 points in that second half. So that much maligned defense of Creekside during that difficult start really rose to the occasion. And Bowles as well. You start out 0-3, your first losing streak since 1967, and then you come back with huge gut check wins over Trinity Christian. You forced 5 turnovers in that game, win 26-21, and then certainly going on the road last week to Oakleaf, a team that had been riding high with the arrival of Coach Christopher Foy, and you really just don't even give them a chance in that game. Win big, 44-28, and really muscle your way back into that conversation. So I think the residual from last week for me was don't count out those teams who are starting tough and are able to turn it around and get things going. Creekside Bowles certainly a good example of that.
Justin, you're an encyclopedia when it comes to high school football knowledge in this area, so I'm curious your opinion on this. I've noticed that at Fletcher, St. Augustine, a couple other schools as well, Bishop Kenny actually, earlier this year, when the starting quarterback goes down, boy, these backup quarterbacks come in, Justin, and the team doesn't miss a beat. I mean, normally, at least back when I played, if your starting quarterback went down, you were in a lot of trouble, but that no longer seems to be the case.
Yeah, it's been pretty remarkable to see that. I mean, at St. Augustine especially, I mean, you've got guys, I mean, even going back, I mean, to the Quinterrence Cooper, who's now the athletic director at St. Augustine High School when he played, and you got you want to try out a new position, and you move him to receiver, and you put a guy named K1 Jakes in, who was Cooper's backup, and he thrives and shines. And then you had Austin Reed, who was a backup at one point, kind of waited his turn in the rotation, and we saw what Austin Reed turned out to be, tearing it up in college. And Dylan Cook, he's a senior. You're not thinking he's going to get a lot of playing time behind Lachlan Hewlett, and Lachlan hurts his shoulder, and Dylan's got the two biggest rivalry games on the schedule, Menendez a week prior, and then Bartram Trail last week, and you author two unbelievable just streamlined wins. You pass the ball well, and to beat a Bartram Trail with your backup quarterback as good as Bartram Trail has been is a remarkable testament to the coaching down there and the ability of a guy like Dylan Cook. And the same thing at Fletcher. I mean, Marcellus Tate goes down. You got guy. Even the running game comes in and really emerges there to stabilize the team until he got back. So it's just been remarkable. And I think a lot of that goes to coaching and the belief you have in your guys. And I remember Brian Braddock, when he got hired, saying, hey, we've got to get a system in place where we're not going to have, 4 and 5 star guys every year. We've got to get something that's sustainable, that works over time. And I think with the Dylan Cook situation, you look at that sustainable system. When your top guy goes down, this is not the NFL or even college where you've got those huge backup guys who can come in and win a game. These are, high school backup quarterbacks. You're not thinking much out of them. So that, I think that's just a testament to the coaching, this system, and the players who are emerging and able to stand in and fill in those tough times.
Justin Barney of Channel 4 here with us on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Justin, we're running out of undefeated teams. Is it as simple as St. Augustine and Bradford County, in whatever order you want to put them in, clearly the two best teams right now in the area?
Yeah, and I think Mandarin as well. Even though Mandarin is not undefeated anymore, I think Mandarin's still got a pretty good track to maybe a regional final berth and beyond. But St. Augustine, I've said from the beginning of the year, I think a Final Four or a championship for these guys. This class of Lachlan Hewlett and his 3 receivers before they're graduated next year or in 20. They're all juniors. So I think a Final Four or a state championship game is certainly within reason for those guys, and Bradford as well. I mean, they were a Final Four team last year, lost to eventual state champ Cocoa. So I do think that's a little more forgiving in those two divisions that they're in, 3S and 2S. I think they are a little bit more ahead of the curve in terms of winning a state championship than, say, a Mandarin, just because the road is so tough in that Metro classification that Mandarin is in.
Boy, some really good games on Friday night, Justin, as we look ahead to this week. We'll get into some district matchups in a moment, but some good old-fashioned bragging rights on the line at the Graveyard with Riverside and Rains. Two good teams on Friday night going at it.
Yeah, really good matchup. And I was just talking to somebody about this earlier today. You know, Riverside last year started out just wasn't there. It was not there. Kind of reminded me of during the early times in O.J. Small's tenure when you took some time, you needed to really kind of make your imprint and your impression on the team and get the guys to buy in. And I think that was the case with Antoine Nicholas. If you saw Riverside in week 1 and then in Riverside in week 10 last year, they were two totally different teams. And that comes down to confidence and coaching and belief in your guys and the guys' ability to execute those plays. And they've been a lot more consistent. They've been more like that week 10, week 11 Riverside team from last year throughout this season. And, you know, I know they have a 30-point loss to Mandarin, but they have been ascending at the right time. And Range has kind of just been status quo. I mean, they have a good defense. They've been doing just enough on offense. So you got to, if you're Range and Donovan Maslin, you hope your offense continues to kind of show some signs of life. I know you got Mark Miller running the ball well, Tyron Randolph in the quarterback position, slinging it pretty well. But you got to start doing a little bit more on offense as you face some tougher teams. And I think Riverside is certainly that. Riverside, an ascending program. You got Miles Kendrick doing things on both sides of the ball. Tayshawn Gelsey, Glenn Foreman, all those guys. So I think Riverside's arrow is certainly pointed up, and I think they're going to be good for a couple years with a lot of those underclassmen. But an excellent one on Friday night, so big-time bragging rights between the Vikings and Generals at the backyard.
Yeah, and I remember Riverside, if memory serves, they're the first team in the area that has officially clinched a playoff spot, right? They won a district title last week with that win over Ed White because they already had the win over Westside. So Riverside knows they'll be in the postseason. Another district game, in fact, both games on our air, 10 a.m., 92.5 FM. We think Bishop Kenny and Bowles are on a collision course for late October. The district play begins. Bishop Kenny with Wolfson, Bowles with Episcopal. Either one of those teams have problems on Friday night?
No, I think Bowles, we've seen what they're capable of when they're healthy, and they found a rhythm. And I know that Bishop Kenny game last year was a seismic upset, and I just don't think Bowles is going to let that happen again. I think Bowles' second half of the schedule, you run the gauntlet like they had early on. You finish 2-3. And it kind of shows you what the schedule makers think of Bowles. I mean, they're rated the 4th team in our area by Max Prep. So, you have a 2-3 record, but the schedule you've played is just a beast. For Bishop Kenny, you got to hope James Reeser is back and healthy for that game. But I think those two teams are head and shoulders in that district. They won't have any problems this week.
A couple of more for Justin Barney of Channel 4. Mandarin's in a weird situation like Sandalwood and Atlantic Coast because they're the big schools in the metro area, but they have to play some weird games away from the Jacksonville area in their district. And I believe one of them is this week, right, with Lake Mary?
Yeah, you're going down to a Lake Mary team, 4-0. The Rams are getting it done, and that's a team that could be a playoff glimpse as well. I mean, they're in the same region. So if you're a Mandarin, this could be the first of 2 meetings with the Lake Mary this season. Lake Mary definitely headed towards a playoff berth, and Mandarin as well. So that is almost a playoff preview of what Mandarin's going to see in that Metro classification. Again, it's just such a tough road in that Metro division. For the first time since 2000, we did not have a team play for a state championship last year, and you kind of kick that idea around. Is that going to become a norm? Every year in the past, we'd get teams playing for titles, winning championships, and if they weren't winning, they were playing for them. But last year, it just did not come to pass. UC lost. I think we had 4 teams in the state semifinals all lose those games. So I'm curious if we will see that again this year. But this is a good test for Mandarin. I mean, this is a playoff opponent that you will likely see at some point in the postseason. So a good glimpse and a chance for Mandarin to really bounce back and show that loss to Creekside was a little bit of an aberration.
I really like this game on Friday night. One of the best in Clay County and Oakleaf taking on one of the best in St. Johns County and Creekside, a district game and a game that both of these teams really need. Creekside, a loss here would be very detrimental to their postseason chances.
Yeah, if you're Creekside, you've already got the loss to Buchholz. I think they're going to be okay in terms of the playoff rankings points just because the schedule you played, but you want to get in that you want to get in the right way and win your district. And certainly a win over Oakleaf. I mean, this game was an epic game last year. 1 point Creekside win, 49-48. And if you're Creekside, you're built to win games like that. But hey, you may now be built to win a defensive struggle. You just beat the number 1 team in the area, the most stock team in terms of future college players in the area last week, and you did it with defense. And it's going to be a good one. You know, Oakleaf's wanting to bounce back after that loss to Bowles. Christopher Foy does a great job with that Oakleaf program, and I expect another classic on Friday between those 2 teams.
You know, Bartram Trail's in that district as well, along with Gainesville, Buchholz, and Fleming Island. And I've heard from many people in the area, Buchholz is a machine, right? As good as our teams are here, Buchholz is going to be tough to beat in that district.
Yeah, I think Buchholz is the favorite. They beat Bartram Trail last year in the 3rd round of the playoffs to end an unbeaten Bartram Trail season. And, you know, Buchholz is what they are, even with the new coach. And they are just a program that has gotten it right, and they figured it out. And that's the most difficult district in our area is that 4S that 4S division where Creekside and Bartram and Fleming and Oakleaf all are, and you got the outsider in Buchholz, and I think Buchholz is probably the best of all of those teams. So in that district, we may get 3 teams out of that district making the playoffs, but if you're Oakleaf, you're Creekside, you got to keep on winning in district play to get those rankings points and stuff and possibly win a district championship. But if you're Creekside and you lose this game with Buchholz already in behind you, I think that's a difficult path to a district championship if you lose on Friday night to Oakleaf.
Wrapping things up with Justin Barney of Channel 4. I want to end with the Jaguars. Justin, before we get there, send the folks out for people listening tonight that want to hit a ball game on Friday. Where's the best place to go?
Man, if you're in Duval County, I think Range and Riverside is the one to go to. I don't think there's any question about that. Those 2 teams doing excellent. There's rivals. Backyard's a great setting on Friday night. That is going to be a good one. I think Oakleaf and Creekside is another fantastic one on Friday night as well. So Bartram Trail and Fleming Island, we talked about that one too. So Fleming Island hosting that game against Bartram. That's a rematch of Bartram Trail. Former coach Chad Parker is now at Fleming Island. So battle of first-year coaches there. So I think the biggest games are in that district on Friday night at Fleming Island and then at Creekside. So we've got some good ones in Clay, St. John's, and Duval on Friday night, as well as our Football Friday game of the week, Yulee going to Fernandina Beach, great Nassau County rivalry there.
Yeah, how weird do you think that'll be for Chad Parker? All that time at Bartram and now to coach against him on Friday.
Yeah, it'll be a little bit weird, but he's still got friends over there, and all those guys are still cordial and everything. So it'll be interesting to see all those familiar faces again.
All right, Justin, leave us with this. I don't know what that was on Sunday. It was awful. I know that. The Jaguars head to London on Thursday for 10 days. It begins with Atlanta this Sunday. I mean, where are you right now with the Jaguars after this 1-2 start?
Yeah, it is just 3 weeks into the season, so that's the positive side. But have not seen a ton to really be proud of, promising of. And Jacksonville's got the offensive line issues. You can't get to the quarterback. And I think the biggest thing for me is you saw these problems in the offseason and you did not address those. You waited too long to take a pass rusher in the draft, and you're counting on all these developments from players, and we just have not seen that yet. But it is week 3 that just passed. You got a long way to go, and just a point from last season. I mean, if you gave up on the Jaguars this early in the season last year, you missed the most remarkable second half of the season in franchise history. So a little too early to give up on the team, but you got to address those problems if you're Doug Peterson.
Justin Barney of Channel 4, always kind enough to join us here on the High School Spotlight. Justin, appreciate it, man. We'll do it again next week.
Take care, Ack. Thanks for having me.
Now, today's takeaways, brought to you by Key Buick GMC, where our family dealership has been helping families buy vehicles for over 50 years.
And thank you to Justin Barney of Channel 4 for joining us here on the High School Spotlight on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. My big takeaways from the evening. Well, there are a couple. Number one, it's interesting. Talking to a lot of folks in Atlanta, talking to folks here in Jacksonville and that cover the National Football League on a national basis, a lot of people thinking this is a get-right game for Jacksonville. Falcons are 2-1. Jaguars are 1-2, coming off just an embarrassing loss on Sunday Yet the vibe I'm getting is that a lot of people will pick Jacksonville to win this football game in London. We'll see. I'll pick it later in the week. I'm interested to be down in the Jaguar locker room tomorrow to get the vibe of the guys before they head to London. But certainly a lot of people that I've talked to think Jacksonville will bounce back and get to 2-2 on the year. And then, look, it's a big game on Saturday for Florida. I didn't expect Florida and Kentucky to have a lot of significance, quite honestly, but it does. 3-1 Gators, 4-0 Wildcats in Lexington. Boy, a Florida win, and I think they're ahead of schedule. If you told Gator fans a month ago 4-1 with wins over Kentucky and Tennessee, they would say, where do I sign? Yet 3-2 with losses to Utah and Kentucky, and it's about what Florida fans thought. So it's a huge game for the Gators on Saturday, and of course you'll hear it right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Well, that'll just about do it for what has been a very busy Tuesday night edition, our late night show. We certainly thank you guys for staying up late with us each and every Tuesday here on Hacker After Dark. We have a ton of people to thank. The High School Spotlighting and Justin Barney of Channel 4. Thank you to Marcus Wells, the head coach of Episcopal, and Sean McIntyre, the head coach of Creekside, for both joining us. Episcopal and Bowles, you will hear Friday night on 10:10 a.m. And as far as Creekside goes, they have a big one against Oakleaf, and we certainly thank Coach McIntyre and Coach Wells for joining us tonight. Thank you to my friend Brent Beard. You see him locally on First Coast News. You also get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Always enjoy the conversation with Brent Beard. And Jamal St. Cyr from Channel 4 also stop by to review Jaguars-Texans and take a look ahead to the Jaguars and the Falcons. We'll be back tomorrow night on a Wednesday, and we will do it all over again beginning at 8 o'clock. I'll be down in the Jaguar locker room tomorrow, and we will bring you certainly content and interviews from that locker room session. Dylan Denmark was your producer tonight. Dylan, great job as always. I'm the Hacker Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for staying up late with us right here on a Tuesday on Hacker After Dark, on 1010XL, and on 92.5 FM.
He's not a defense attorney. He is the defensive player of the game.
Let's go get a pick and score.
After the game, catch the Superior Fence and Rail defensive